And now we'll be having the keynote address by the President, and to introduce, he doesn't need introduction, but as a part of the program, I invite Catalina Isaza Cantor for the introduction.
Good morning again. Well, it is my pleasure, my honor to introduce Mr. Tim Boyd, our dear president. And though we may have heard his introduction other times, I really think the value of hearing it once and other time is that when we hear a presentation from a remarkable theosophist, it always gives us inspiration for action. So I will read his introduction. Mr. Tim Boyd has been serving as International President of the Theosophical Society Adyar since April 2014. He was born in New York City and lived there for 17 years until he left to attend Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. From there, he transferred to the University of Chicago, where he was an honors graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Public Affairs. He joined the Theosophical Society in America in 1974. Together with Bill Lawrence, a TS member and mentor, and others, he founded a theosophical spiritual community in Chicago's inner city. The group held classes of the ageless wisdom, meditation, and healing. They work with at-risk and disadvantaged youth, transform vacant lots into award-winning organic food gardens, and place beehives on the roofs of local buildings. The group formed a business, Royal Associates, that initially focused on reclaiming and renovating deteriorating residential buildings in their area, creating housing for low and middle-income families. Their work helped stabilize neighborhoods through the training and employment of local youth and the creation of affordable homes for area residents. In 1988, Tim became a national lecturer of the Theosophical Society in America. From 1996 to 2000, he worked in hospice services as a volunteer in a team that involved doctors, social workers, and nurses. In 2007, he became president of the Theosophical Order of Service in the US, and in 2011, he was elected president of the TS in America. Tim's involvement with the Theosophical Order of Service and the Kushul Orphanage in Tibet led to an audience with the Dalai Lama, which resulted in the TS in America sponsoring his visit to Chicago in July 2011. A two-day event attended by 10,000 people. The event raised $400,000, I imagine, all of which was donated to educational projects aiding Tibetan communities worldwide. In 2014, Tim was re-elected as TS in America president and also elected president of the Theosophical Society Adyar. He currently shares his time between the headquarters of the TS Adyar here in Chennai and his home in Chicago, Illinois, US, where he lives with his wife, Lily, and daughter, Angelique. So I'm very happy to call you to the stage and welcome you today. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank Catalina for her introduction. It's a little bit of an odd situation when the introduction is longer than the talk I'm going to give to you. but we may have reached that point. First of all, I do also want to apologize. I'm just noticing, just for myself, this will be the 10th time, I believe, the 10th time that I have done this here, to open this convention and to be involved from the position of the international president. It's been wonderful. Every time that I have been here, each time when I would look out into the audience, for sure, sitting right where Deepa and Marya are right now, would be my wife, Lily. She's not here this morning. She's here, but for whatever reason, she had some stomach difficulty. And so for my first time with one of these conventions, I'm doing it solo in that sense, but obviously I am not alone. That part's for sure. But normally during this period of this convention, use the time to present a president's report. We'll do that again. My speaking portion of it has tended to be just updating you more about things that have gone on here at the actual campus. I should say 10 years ago, I started something that got me stuck into it. I couldn't stop once it started. Was that the president's report, which had previously been about a minimum of 1 hour of poor Radha having to read the reports from every section in the world, I knew I couldn't stand up to an hour of just reading like that. And plus, thought perhaps we'd make it a little bit more interesting by including video and pictures of the places themselves. So I started doing that and loved doing it. But then I quickly found out that this is a very labor-intensive matter. Producing a 50-minute video takes about 10, 15 hours of your time at least. Loved it, but this year I was able to hand that part of it over to some of our younger theosophists who, younger theosophists with capacities and who, because of their youth, perhaps they need a little bit more suffering. So I was able to share that with them, and they've done a stellar job with that. So all you will hear on the upcoming report will be my voice. But here's the thing. As I look around, I recognize many of you from over the years. There was a time when I stood up here and about 10 of you I knew. That time has changed over these many years, over the time that we've had tea together, we've spoken together, all of those things. And that, of course, too, is wonderful for me. But those of you who have been here for a while recognize certain things. One of those is that we have had to expend a massive amount of effort and time over these last several years in the upgrading of our Adyar home. There was a need. And as much as we wished it was different, it was an inescapable need that our place rise to the level that is appropriate for a place that is a spiritual center, also for a place that was described by Annie Besant as the master's home. Certainly, where we have something that we recognize as a place that is home to a presence whose purpose in being is the upliftment of the world and of all of us as individuals, to have something that is lacking in beauty, is lacking in attention, is a mistake on our part. So that's something that we have focused on quite intensively. I should say that we have reached a point in all of that. I do always appreciate the recognition from many that of the work that has been done. and of the way things have come up from their previous condition. But that's not what we're here for. That was the work we've done for these several years because it had to be done. But this place exists for a much different purpose. My goodness, look who's coming in. Just spoke your name. All right. By the way, for those of you who don't know, this is my wife Lily, who I just mentioned. Anyway, that was done because it had to be done, and quite honestly, it is a work that we wish we didn't have to do because it was not a distraction, but it required all of our efforts to get there. We have reached a point with that approach to our time here at Adyar where that work is not done because it will never end. The maintenance and upgrading of this place will be as long as there is this place. We know that. But it has evolved to a point where the people who are involved in the direction and all of the functions related to Adyar have developed into a team of people where there is a shared consciousness of the direction, of the value, and of the systems and ways that are required for this place to be maintained as a place of beauty, to be maintained as a place that is serviceable to its purpose. And its purpose, we're not about buildings and land. It's a wonderful thing we've been blessed with to have those things. And to ignore that blessing would be foolish and irresponsible. So we don't. But that's not what this place was founded for. Certainly nothing less than a direction that points toward the regeneration of the human mind is the direction that we point ourselves. So one of the beauties of this whole theosophical endeavor, and it's something that I find myself turning toward more and more, I find myself realizing something that's been right before me, but perhaps at a deeper level these days. In the Key to Theosophy, HPB, she says a lot of wonderful things. One of the questions relates to the work that we try to do here. The question that was asked and answered in that book was, what is the purpose of the Theosophical Society? As members of this organization, I do hope that it's a question that you have asked yourselves. And I do hope it's a question you have satisfactorily answered for yourselves. But don't stop there ever, because any answer we have has to grow. Otherwise, it, like everything else, is static. But her answer to the purpose of the Theosophical Society, she said that it exists for this purpose: to make it known that such a thing as theosophy exists. And I won't go into that in depth. Maybe I'll talk about it later in our conference. But to me, that's a less than satisfactory answer. It doesn't, I should say, at my initial stage of hearing that and trying to come to grips with that, it was something that didn't necessarily lead me very far. It exists to make it known that something else exists. But with time, and hopefully with a little bit of the dissolving of a certain ignorance on my part, and mainly with the work that has come with functioning as the international president of the organization, but primarily focused on this place, I start to recognize that what is it within this whole theosophical endeavor that is of such potency that it would have someone as highly evolved as H.P. Blavatsky state that the awareness of its existence has a power. And so, for years, since the Theosophical Society's founding, the approach to making it known that theosophy exists, the question for us has been, how do you do that? How do you make it known? And a lot of that will be defined by what it is you happen to believe theosophy is. Certainly from the earliest days of the TS, we have followed two tracks. One of them was the attempt to communicate and make it known through the written word, through books, pamphlets, literature. And the second was through the spoken word. Such things as me standing here at this moment. But throughout our history, those have been the ways that have been focused on, and in large measure, the only ways that we have made the attempt of communicating what theosophy is. I've come to find that, as precious and valuable and necessary as those two avenues are of written and spoken word, they do not, in any sense, exhaust the possibilities of making theosophy in its depths known to others. And so we come to the work that we do here at the Theosophical Society. There's an awful lot going on here. Of course, there is the focus on the deep study of the wisdom teachings as they have been handed down to us, and mainly on the focus of trying to realize them and apply them. But here there are schools, two different schools that we have. We have social welfare work, we have vocational training work, we have an animal dispensary that is probably the best animal rescue operation of its type in South India, certainly in Chennai. There's no question about that. To some, you'd be talking about those things and, okay, what does that have to do with theosophy? It has everything to do with theosophy. The first thing that has been spoken about in terms of HPB and others, if you want to get a grip on what theosophy is, number one thought that you need to try and struggle with is the idea of unity, non-separation, interdependence. You figure out how you want to phrase it. But the ways in which we try to operate here, and I find that it's something that has become quite pronounced, is that through everything that we do, to try to communicate a sense of our oneness. We are one with each other in our attempt to lift each other up, whether it's through education, whether it's through the healing work toward animals, no matter what it is. So that's one thing. Additionally, during the course of this past year, we have been trying to move into other additional ways. So we have something we've called the Wisdom for Living program. And it's something that is an in-person only program. We do send out the recordings of it later on. But this is a in-person where people come and we invite people who are very, very deeply involved across the spectrum of human activity, whether it's medicine, science, health, finance, spirituality. Every area that we function in as human beings, there are people we invite who have found a way to apply these spiritual principles in their work and in their lives, and to share along those lines. And it's been very, very well received. Additionally, we have something now, libraries as communities. I should say, first of all, that Wisdom for Living program specifically have to thank a gentleman by the name of Mr. Ram Kumar for the work that he has done with that. We have our Libraries as Communities program, which is bringing people together in our libraries, bringing it to life, utilizing our collections. Many, many things going on. But all of this is really to say one thing that, again, it's not new to me, but the level at which it is being confirmed here at Adyar is something that to me is important. And it's the idea that whatever it is, whatever attempt we are making to come to grips with theosophy or the work of theosophy or the work of the Theosophical Society, in every aspect it is people dependent. It is thoroughly dependent on the very imperfect vehicles that are available, which means you, and in the case of this president of the Theosophical Society, probably primarily me. We are all imperfect. If we weren't, you would have no need for a Theosophical Society, and the world would have no need for a Theosophical Society, which it does. So, the conclusion, what comes to me at least, has been repeatedly confirmed. That where you can have any group of people, of necessarily imperfect people, come together with a focus, with a shared focus, that remarkable things take place. And I don't have to convince any of you, because you have been watching things happening at this campus for years. And a transformation is something that has been involved in all of this. We recognize quite well that every project, every effort, everything that we attempt will not necessarily flower and flourish. That's just the way things go. Every seed does not always sprout and produce fruit, but we also recognize that some will. And where that fruit arises, very often it arises quite richly. And that's our focus, step by step with this place. It's an international organization, as Maria mentioned previously, so we have sections and we have activities in places around the world. The point of this particular time during the program is to try to present some of those things. So I'm going to allow whoever it is, Anand, to show the video. Once again, I want to thank Hari for doing this video this year. It has been quite a joy to have no hand in it whatsoever except the voice of me and my daughter. So thank you one and all, and let's watch the video.
In the Asia-Pacific region, the TS in East and Southeast Asia, with 719 members, operates in 4 countries: Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, and Myanmar. Though there is no lodge in China, remarkable growth was seen through the efforts of the Chinese project team of the Singapore Lodge, which developed a Chinese website and conducted online lectures and talks. A theosophy course was held in Chinese, and a book club accessed translated literature, recorded lectures, and subtitled videos. 2 blog groups engage members and non-member sympathizers. In Singapore, a notable event was the opening of the new premises in August. Malaysia hosted the 15th Indo-Pacific Conference online in November, focusing on finding joy amidst uncertainty. In Japan, online study sessions were organized bi-monthly, and several books were translated and published in Japanese. With the end of restrictions of the global pandemic, most of the activities of the TS in Australia have returned to normal. After almost 3 years, January saw the resumption of the National Convention as an in-person gathering in Adelaide, South Australia. There was a healthy attendance, perhaps because of the long hiatus, with a host of excellent speakers and over 75 delegates, making it a memorable event. In October, a 3-day event was held at the Springbrook Education and Retreat Center entitled Ancient Wisdoms in a Modern World, a contemporary exploration of the stories and symbols that bring meaning to our lives. The TS in India had another annual increase of membership to 12,230. The trend toward online lectures set during the COVID-19 blossomed. Another highlight was a plan to contribute to the participation of 100 members of the section in the 12th World Congress of the TS to be held in Vancouver, Canada in 2025. A 3-day 131st National Convention was held in October at the Radha Bernier Amphitheater in Varanasi. The 175th birth anniversary of Dr. Annie Besant was celebrated in October, with floral tributes paid by the students and staff of the educational institutions, the workers, and the members. The 147th Foundation Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day were observed in the Annie Besant Hall in Varanasi. The 99th Easter Conference was conducted in April at Adyar, based on the book The World Around Us, a compilation of Radha Bernier's On the Watchtower articles from 1980 to 2007. 5 federations conducted study camps at Bawali from April to June. Several online talks were given by the president and national lecturers. The Indian Theosophist was published monthly in English and Hindi. The website for the Theosophical Society India hosts several magazines from the different federations. TOS activities had active participation of members at all levels during the year.
The year's activities in the New Zealand section were back to pre-COVID levels. The National Convention was held in January in Wanganui with the theme, Our Journey from Me to We to the Oneness of All, with Nancy Seacrest as the guest speaker. The School of Theosophy was held in April with Ravi Ravindra, who spoke on the journey of spiritual search. Immersion Weekend was held in early August with the theme, Theosophy, A Path of Discovery. The online Theosophical Sundays program had 4 sessions with Martin Lederman on exploring the secret doctrine. Branch seminars continued to be conducted by John Vorstermans and Renee Sell. A new website was released in August with a new look and feel, added functions, improvements to the events page, online shopping, and membership database. Theosophia continued to be popular in New Zealand and worldwide. The Philippines section transitioned to in-person interactions after the pandemic. It marked its 90th anniversary in 2023 and conducted the National Convention online in November with the theme The Quest for Truth, the challenge of our times. Activities included a recollection/retreat, reports, meditation sessions, panel discussions, workshops, plenary sessions, and action plans. Guided meditations with lectures and Q&A sessions were held each month, while midweek public meditation sessions were held weekly. Publications like the Theosophical Digest, the Philippine Theosophist newsletter, and Peace Ideas remained consistent. The TOS engaged in feeding programs, typhoon disaster relief, and outreach activities. Correspondence courses continued. An online presence is maintained through Facebook, YouTube, and its website. In the Europe region, the TS in Austria, a new board was installed for the branch in Graz. 2 lodges offered weekly lectures throughout the study year. Study subjects were based on classical theosophical teachings and related subjects. The 3rd lodge will be reorganized shortly. In July, members attended the summer school organized by Kieran Waltel in Linz and the summer school of the German section. Members received the Adyar periodical magazine from the German section, published 3 times a year. In Belgium, 7 lodges continued regular activity, some of them publishing newsletters and all of them organizing study meetings and monthly lectures on theosophical topics. All TS Adyar commemorations were held at the Brussels headquarters: White Lotus Day, Founders Day, Adyar Day, and Annie Besant Day. Healing and peace meditations, which have a loyal following, were conducted in cooperation with Belgian TOS. The Brussels headquarters also welcomed EFTS executive and council meetings in early September.
The TS in England and Wales continued to promote the ancient wisdom teachings through the activities at headquarters, lodges, and centers. Headquarters presented 24 online Sunday evening lectures. Besides local speakers, they had international speakers from Belgium, Italy, Scotland, and the USA. The lodges and centers met regularly for both personal study and public talks. They continued the foundation and higher online diploma courses in Theosophy. In August, the summer school was held again after 4 years, with the theme, The Spiritual Path in Challenging Times. A new group, Young Adult Theosophists of England and Wales, was formed by enthusiastic younger members, affiliated to the World Federation of Young Theosophists. The quarterly magazine, Esoterica, continued to be distributed to members and to interested parties around the world. The website had a substantial increase of visits and visitors. Facebook and YouTube followers have also increased. Membership growth was helped by the associate scheme enabling people to study Theosophy for 2 years before committing to becoming members. There are 17 lodges in Finland, organizing public talks regularly in different cities of Finland as well as in Estonia. Some of them organize weekly or monthly studies of theosophical books. 8 lodges have a theosophical library. 2 celebrated their 90th anniversary in September. The annual general meeting was held in Helsinki in May. During the summer months, there were 2 talks a month, some available online. Foundation Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day were celebrated during the talks. The TOS organized a spring festival in April and a Christmas event to raise funds. It supports Olcott Memorial School, the Social Welfare Center, and the Boys' Hostel in Adyar. Theosophy magazine appears 4 times a year. The Letters from the Masters of Wisdom, 2nd series by C. Jinnarajadasa, was published in Finnish. An audiobook on Mabel Collins, Light on the Path, is available on YouTube and SoundCloud. The Facebook page has 1,600 followers. At the TS France, bi-monthly hybrid courses and online meditation sessions attracted a core of interested participants. Members participated in a silent retreat on the theme, Acquainting the Mind with Meditation, at the end of April. Public lectures took place as well. Founders Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day were celebrated. An online study group on the Mahatma letters with the Belgian section and Spanish participants continued. A study group on fundamental theosophical teachings for new members also went on. The National Convention on the Laws of the Higher Life took place at the end of June with Sabine van Aasta from Belgium as guest speaker. The section's online presence grew, including Facebook, YouTube, and weekly newsletters. The publishing house, Edition Adyar, began to sell TPH Adyar books via the website. The TS library was open to the public, and the magazine, Le Lotus Bleu, is published 10 times a year, both in electronic and in hard copy form.
The 3 annual meetings of the TS in Germany were held, as always, in the south in the autumn, in the north in the spring, and the summer school in the middle of Germany. The guest of honor was Esther Pockranth, who joined online for 2 lectures on taming the dragon within. A course on the secret doctrine was continued. Isolde Soltemeyer talked about Rukmini Devi Arundale's life and her great services to the TS, India, and wildlife. Monthly online meetings bring members and guests from all over Germany together, listening to the best speakers nationwide. Meanwhile, 3 healing groups met regularly, and some met to meditate for peace worldwide. The thrice yearly Adyar magazine published a special edition in December with translated talks from the International Convention 2021. Authors and lecturers in German keep growing. Since June, the TS in Greece was able to organize hybrid meetings. A study group on the secret doctrine also held online meetings. Joint lodge meetings and individual meetings were organized. The membership increased, with new members attending the lectures and study groups more frequently. The General Assembly meeting was held in April with good attendance. Foundation Day, White Lotus Day, and Adyar Day were celebrated. The magazine, Elysos, was published every 3 months with 200 subscribers. TS in Hungary held its 2 usual General Assembly meetings, one in spring, the other in the autumn. The one operating lodge has 22 members and 11 are members at large. Monthly meetings were held. A series of bi-weekly workshops were done with cosmogenesis of the secret doctrine in focus. Ma Tez, the Hungarian TOS, organized charity collections and donated to persons in need. The virtual healing group had weekly gatherings / group meditations. 11 public lectures were given. White Lotus Day commemorated Madame Blavatsky. Numerous lectures are available in the YouTube channel. The Hidden Side of Our World, with 2,650 members. Theosophy in Hungary is a podcast available on YouTube. Occult Chemistry by C.W. Leadbeater and A. Besant and The Conquest of Illusion by J.J. Vanderloo were translated and published. Contact was established with TS in Switzerland, Slovakia, and USA. Regular touch was kept with all the 95 TS in Ireland members via study notes, messages, and uplifting quotations. They also had the opportunity to join TS programs and receive theosophical magazines online. Many new members joined thanks to the website. In-person programs started last autumn for the Belfast and Dublin lodges with talks, meditations, and study. The All-Ireland Convention was held in May with Gerard Brennan from Australia as the guest speaker on Along the Path and Towards the Mountains. online contact with other sections and their magazines was encouraged since COVID time. The organizing secretary delivered a talk to the Russian TS on thought power and its higher potential, with some simultaneous translation into Russian.
In the TS in Italy, the year saw positive results. The Rivista Italiana di Teosofia, the Italian magazine of Theosophy, was published bi-monthly. A study on meditation led by Tranti Kim Dew was organized at Milan in October. 2 intergroup seminars were held, one at Trieste in October with the theme, This Unknown Life, Theosophy and Knowledge of the Occult, and the other at Turin in January on Art and Theosophy. The Theosophical Seminar in Ascona took place in March on the relationship between art and theosophy and the role of the TS. The section organized its 109th National Congress in Cervignano de Friuli in June with the theme Sublime Harmony, Beauty of Life. A 10-lesson online introductory course to the stanzas of Dzyan, Part 1, Cosmogenesis, was held. The Italian young theosophists did translations and took care of the audio magazine. The monthly newsletter has over 3,600 active users. The TS in Netherlands, with 367 members, 10 lodges, and 7 centers, collaborates closely with the ITC, the International Theosophical Center in Naarden, known as the European home of the TS. The activities at the ITC included 2 autumn 2022 events themed Exploring the Latent Powers in Humankind, a spring 2023 seminar themed What is Consciousness, and a summer 2023 seminar led by Kurt Leland themed Cooperative Work with Invisible Worlds. The second gathering of the World Federation of Young Theosophists was hosted at the ITC in June, featuring a special seminar by Kurt Leland titled The Path of Cooperation and the Spiritual Life. The quarterly journal, Theosophia, is available at the website www.theosophy.nl. An online bi-monthly newsletter is distributed to over 1,000 subscribers. The library houses 25,000 books available, and the bookshop maintains a stock of theosophical and related books, primarily sold online. The TS in Portugal had at least 3 public sessions monthly, along with the celebration of the traditional commemorative days integrated in the history of the TS. Sessions were held at least every fortnight. All were well attended. The website continued to be a good reference to those who showed interest in the section's history and activities. A regular newsletter was published. Social networks were used to reach a larger public. Lodges and study groups worked regularly. The online lecture center of the TS in Russia continued its work. 51 meetings were conducted, of which 9 included international speakers. The online project, Reading H.P. Blavatsky's Articles Together, is being actively developed. Another one, Introduction to the Philosophy of Religions, was launched. The online course, Introduction to Theosophy, was launched in November. The 12th All-Russian Theosophical Conference was held in Kemerovo in April, with the same theme as that of the International Convention held in Adyar. Weekly meetings on the Secret Doctrine continued. 2 Saturdays a month there was a course in Symbolism in Astrology. The monthly meditation course on Theosophy and Life continued. Along with the TS India, the Russian School of Wisdom 2023 was held in July, devoted to issues of self-knowledge. The memorial days of Blavatsky, May 8th and August 12th, are traditionally celebrated in all Russian lodges. With the participation of international theosophists from Brazil, Turkey, and Belarus, The Theosophical Forum was held in Smolensk in July. The 12th Annual Theosophical Seminar on the Secret Doctrine was held in August in the village of Makarayevka. In November, the National Congress of the Theosophical Society in Russia on the nature of thinking, conscious thinking, was held. The official pages are maintained in social networks, Facebook, Kontakte, which is the Russian analog of Facebook, and Telegram. This year, new accounts were created on Yandex.Zen and RuTube. Videos are posted on YouTube. Over 200 new videos were posted during the year.
The TS in Scotland held regular, very popular Theosophical Study Group meetings on Saturdays. The organizing secretary gave talks/study sessions on the voice of the silence at every lodge. Malcolm McQueen gave a talk entitled Theosophy and Hellenistic Astrology at the AGM in June. The TS in Slovenia has 5 lodges and 2 study centers with 75 members. The work takes place at Theosophical meetings in the lodges and also online meetings once a week. This mode is preferred as members from all the lodges can attend the meetings. The memorial days were organized and celebrated. The birthday of Annie Besant online and the others in physical gatherings. The magazine, Theosophical Thought, is in digital format.
The Spanish section has face-to-face activities, in addition to online meetings. Different levels of knowledge were addressed, from basic courses to the study of in-depth content for the more experienced. The annual events organized were the annual Silent Retreat, conducted by Tranti Kimdu at the end of October, the Iberian Days during the Easter season, the Summer School at the end of August, as well as the 3 significant dates for Theosophists: Foundation Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day.
The Swiss TS is working to change from a presidential agency to a section. They published articles on the Ticino online blog/magazine and Facebook, and recently joined Twitter. The Italian Theosophical magazine was distributed free at the Locarno bookshop. In Ascona, the European Theosophical Seminar on Art and Theosophy took place, organized in collaboration with the European Federation and the Italian Theosophical Society. The Swiss Theosophical Center in Ascona hosts an active library. The Theosophical course in Geneva explores official Theosophical texts monthly and holds online weekly meetings in French. With the membership of 105, the work of the TS in Ukraine continued despite the ongoing war conditions. 8 departments and the study center functioned with all branches holding meetings, studying Theosophical literature. Key events included the 18th Convention on Living Now, Challenges of Eternal Life, held online in November. White Lotus Day was observed. Also, Herald of Light Day commemorated the 192nd birth anniversary of Blavatsky in August. The online project, Theosophy for the Curious, was offered on Saturdays from October to March for acquainting participants with Theosophy. Aid was given to those affected by the war. The Order of Healing conducted weekly healing rituals designed for souls lost in the war. An online psychological help group was established. Thursday meditations were held for unity, support, and protection of the country. In the Americas, the TS in Argentina, with a membership of 279, started 12 two-year online courses on Theosophy for members at large in places without TS lodges. 7 books were printed in Spanish. The Secret Doctrine, Volume 1, Cosmogenesis by H.P.B. Sri Ram, A Life of Altruism and Wisdom by P. Oliveira, Notes on the Bhagavad Gita by S. Rowe, Approaching the Secret Doctrine by P. Sender, Yogic Ascent to Spiritual Heights by G. Hodson, Reflections on the Eternal Wisdom by J. Mills, and Raja Yoga by W. Salter. the section's YouTube channel was expanded with 441 videos and over 4,000 subscribers. In the Theosophical Center in San Rafael, Mendoza, in October, a national conference was held with the theme Practical Theosophy, an invitation to live altruistically, transforming knowledge into wisdom. In February, the 56th Summer School was held on the theme The Inner Life, Self-Knowledge, and Contemplation in the Three Paths.
Bolivia, with 6 branches and 3 centers, carried on study, research, meditation, and propagation of theosophy. Some members delivered national and international lectures on various topics. Workshops and introductory courses to theosophy were done in the cities of La Paz, Cochabamba, and Tarija to spread theosophical knowledge and increase membership. Public meetings were held every month with the participation of all branches and study groups. The special theosophical dates, such as Foundation Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day, were celebrated. The Bolivian Theosophical magazine was published quarterly from December. The TS in Brazil has 618 members, 33 lodges, and 25 study groups. The 42nd Summer School, with the theme Ancient Wisdom and Peace Building, was hosted in January. The 29th International Theosophical School and Winter Seminar was held on Light on the Path and the Spiritual Journey, Esoteric Instructions and Existential Challenges. That was in July. The hybrid format enabled people from other places to take part, with access to renowned international speakers and live translation to Portuguese. The section held weekly online theosophical study groups open to the public. The headquarters in Brasilia was open for services including the secretariat, the bookshop, and Hatha Yoga sessions daily. From December, in-person lectures resumed at the headquarters weekly, which were recorded and made available on TV Supren's YouTube channel. TOS marks 115 years of work and published an international handbook. A theosophical school at the Raja Center is being planned. The TPH had a successful year with their magazine Sophia, reaching its 100th edition in 20 years. The TS in Canada, with a membership of 113, had meetings every other Sunday with local speakers and from abroad. The website, the Facebook page, and the YouTube channel are continuously being updated. To promote theosophy, a more structured and up-to-date advertising was implemented. Some members were interviewed on a research project on spirituality in the modern world. The aim of developing links with non-affiliated lodges in Canada continued by organizing meetings with them. They expect to have a 6th lodge soon. Some books studied were A Study in Consciousness, The Secret Doctrine, the Bhagavad Gita, and so on.
The TS in Chile had public events that attracted new members, including conferences in August and October titled The Greatest Wisdom is to Know Yourself and Forgetting Yourself to Serve, respectively. Branches like Arundhati operated continuously, with online sessions for members. The Amor branch adjusted its study schedule for increased participation. 7 introductory theosophy courses were offered at the national headquarters, at the end of which attendees could choose to join the TS. Online study groups continued and the library reopened in May. The building of the TS in Colombia was reopened with Wi-Fi system, communication equipment, monitors, and so on, enabling study activities, both online and physically, at the headquarters by the 2 lodges in Bogota. The Medellin Lodge also met weekly. The Lodge Sol de Ecuador was annexed to the presidential agency. There has been an effort to promote online study groups in other Colombian cities and Ecuador and join the IATF, as well as the creation of the Node of Theosophical Diffusion at national and IATF level. The Brahma Vidya School was inactive. An introductory course to Theosophy for neophyte sympathizers will be started. The group Encounters with Krishnamurti continued. TS in Costa Rica continued having 4 active lodges. The challenge, now that members have gotten used to virtual meetings, was to encourage them to go back to in-person meetings. Hybrid sessions helped. International TS festive days like Annie Besant's birthday, Founders Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day were observed. A 3-month introductory course to Theosophy was conducted successfully in hybrid mode with active participation. In April, a seminar, The Secret Doctrine, Path of Self-Transformation, was conducted by Martin Lederman, with about 30 people in attendance. Video forums and study groups also were done. 4 issues of the magazine Sila, Revista Costarricense de Teosofia were published.
The quarterly online Revista Teosófica Cubana, the Cuban Theosophical magazine, was published by the TS in Cuba without interruption. The annual convention was held in January on the theme Universal Brotherhood. Official celebrations and commemorations of the TS were done as usual. The traditional summer school was held in July on the 3 paths of yoga. During January to October, the studies continued, but were suspended during August, the summer holidays. Instead, a public conference was held about different theosophical teachings every Saturday. In January and in September, a basic study course on theosophy was held as usual at the headquarters in Havana. The TS in the Dominican Republic gave intermediate and advanced courses on theosophy online twice a week, and the introductory course in person. Weekly meetings in person were resumed in August. The premises have undergone a facelift and inaugurated in December. It will house the lodges, study groups, and presidential agency office. Commemorations of theosophical dates were done along with the Inter-American Theosophical Federation. In October, the fall seminar on intuition, our connection with the soul, was held in person, facilitated by Drs. Isaac Howley and Enrique Rake, and about 30 people took part. The TOS meets every week to perform the healing ritual. The Theosophical Society in Mexico has 12 lodges and 4 study centers. It held some important events during the year. The School of Theosophy was held in Atlisco, Puebla, in November 2022 by Pablo Sender with the following topics: Service as a Theosophical Path, the Theosophical Path of Meditation, and the Evolution of Higher Consciousness. All lectures were held in person and transmitted live on Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube, and recorded on the website. The TS in Mexico was invited by the Mexican Society for the Study of Religions, part of the Institute of Anthropology and History of the Government of Mexico, to participate in the Colloquium on Spiritualism, Theosophy, and Spirituality. Dissemination work was done via the web page, 2 Facebook pages, 3 YouTube channels, and the magazines Teosofia, Dharma, Duda, and the magazine of the IATF.
The TS in Peru conducts 2 online meetings and 2 in-person gatherings monthly since March. In Peru, the TS celebrated Foundation Day, Adyar Day, and White Lotus Day, online on their respective dates. From October to December, the TS in Puerto Rico concentrated on encouraging attendance at in-person meetings. In January, the Inter-American Theosophical Federation, IATF, offered a week seminar at TS headquarters in India. In February, the IATF president, visited the headquarters in Puerto Rico, and public lectures were delivered by Dr. Enrique Brague. The TS in USA has a slight increase in the membership. The Education Department organized, in conjunction with the Program Committee, 2 successful weekend programs for the in-depth study of Theosophy, Approaching the Secret Doctrine with Pablo Sender, and The Pervasive Presence, Exploring H.P. Blavatsky's Teachings on the 7 Principles with Eugene Jennings. The prison program has seen a rise in the number of referrals and currently has 51 prisoners enrolled in the correspondence course, supported by 18 volunteer members across the country with a total of 115 prisoners as members of the TSA. Our annual Mind, Body, Spirit Festival, Theosophist, was held in September and attracted approximately 3,000 visitors and 130 vendors. The Quest Bookshop continued to expand product lines, including offerings in world religion, mysticism, and children's items.
In Venezuela, the lodges meet every Sunday. The study books include the Bhagavad Gita, Quantum Physics and the Emotions by Ana Belén López Solano, and At the Feet of the Master, among others. In all the lodge meetings, a half-hour of meditation for peace is held, as per the TOS format. Special theosophical dates such as Foundation Day and Adyar Day were celebrated. In the African region, the East and Central African section is comprised of Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Zambia. The highlight of the year was the visit of Isis Resende in January and February. Her 20-day lecture tour of lodges in Kenya, Uganda, and Zambia attracted a great deal of new people, resulting in increased attendance. Some members found the online talks organized by various sections of the TS around the world an alternative to the weekly lodge meetings.